Mail-in ballots torched, a voting center attacked, Antifa arrests outside of an ICE facility. Trump says Iran talks are moving fast, while China is building nuclear launch pads and bunkers. Now reports are raising questions about an attack from Ukraine on a Russian nuclear power plant. And a new White House drone defense concept is being rolled out with the new big building that he's building there that's so big and beautiful. And how about this one? Wi-Fi routers are now able to identify people in their home. And finally, a leaked disclosure plan, the next phase of UFO disclosure, is being said they have fears that it could create mass panic. These stories are not moving in separate lanes anymore. Tonight, we're asking the real question. Have we reached the tipping point? Will we ever know the truth from the news again? I think we know the answer to that question because that's why we're here. That's why the big picture exists. We're going to break it down tonight. Let's go.
All right. Don't be deceived. These are the days of Noah, but we are ready. You with me? Let's go.
You're watching The Big Picture.
Oh, yes, you are watching The Big Picture, and we're going to bring in the queen right now because we got to get her in here right now. Ladies and gentlemen, there she is.
It's so great to be back.
Big Picture family's in the house.
Yes, I did enjoy my Memorial Day, but wasn't the same.
I didn't get the day off. I still had to work in here. I still had to make a show.
Exactly.
But you were outside working, taking care of people, and we had a great time with our family.
Goodness.
It was amazing.
Yes, we did.
And grandbabies are coming over tonight. So
That's right.
with all due respect to y'all, we love you guys, but we're looking forward to when we get through all of this, and at the end, we get our grandbabies. So we're
Gonna wrap this thing up and put a bow on it.
Exactly.
Because they will be coming busting through the front door.
I like that. Kevin says, let's get ready to rumble.
Let's do it, Kevin.
All right. Let's get straight into the news tonight. Rapid fire. New Jersey police arrest Antifa rioters at ICE's Delaney Hall. I've been seeing this heavily on the news. It's trying to ramp back up again. And of course, just in time for the midterms.
Does it remind you of anything?
It reminds me of what happens every time we get close to an election.
No, I mean specifically shades of Ferguson and other incidents come to my mind. But to watch it on the news, it just seems absolutely ridiculous.
It does. All right, let's get into it. Let's see. It says New Jersey police scooped up the Antifa rioters blocking ICE's Delaney Hall detention center in Newark, New Jersey, late Sunday night. Zero tolerance for rioters. Let's watch this. Yeah, it definitely is reminiscent of what we've seen ramp up. And look, it's so now we have the one thing we have now that we didn't have before in all the ones you were just speaking of is we have the Nick Sorters of the world. And, they're out there and they're covering it as citizen journalists and they're covering deliveries of bricks. They're covering stockpiles of supplies. He said, look, man, there are 10,000, this is his words, $10,000 tents being set up everywhere with buffets inside of there. He goes, these things don't just spring up organically.
No, what?
I mean, these are paid protesters. He asked, people were asking him on Fox News or whichever one I was watching it on, they were saying, have you went around and found out how many are local? And he said, yeah, there are some that are local here, but most of the people that are on the ground are not local. They are shipped in.
Wow.
I mean, this is just an orchestrated distraction. It's always about distraction.
Yes, it is.
Everything.
Yes, it is. The only bright thing I've seen out of this whole incident is that the person that was shouting, we know who you are, or we know where you live, we're going to kill you. Supposedly that person was arrested.
Yeah, but they're going to be let right out.
Probably, but I was hoping that would be met with some action.
Yeah.
And supposedly he was arrested because that is ridiculous.
That is
to
ridiculous.
have threats like that against law enforcement, which I don't know if you want to call them law enforcement, but you know what I'm saying here?
Yeah. Well, ICE is, it is former law enforcement.
It is.
Yeah.
Some people may not feel that way or see it that way, but I don't think that people should be allowed to make threats like that, especially when they're captured on camera and it not be met with some sort of action. So probably is already back out on the street, but I don't know, maybe a lesson was made out of them.
So, there's all kinds of videos here that we could play. It says, this is from Homeland Security. Order will prevail. The perimeter around Delaney Hall facility is fully closed, and our ICE Gov operations continue undeterred. Together with the New Jersey law enforcement partners, we will ensure anyone who attempts to obstruct will be brought to justice. This is Now, I will say this, from the first Trump administration to this one, they definitely stepped up their game with their social media. I mean, they put out some stuff that is just like in your face. So they've got some younger people, I think, up there. And this is Nick Sorter that I was talking about. Didn't he come to fame during the Hawaii fires?
I think it was the Maui thing. Remember when he was trying to do an on location piece, and he said, somebody came out of the woods,
stalking him.
You see him right there?
He's following me all the way to the hotel. Yeah, that's how he got his big break.
Bizarre. Very bizarre. And we don't mean to laugh. Maui was extremely serious, but that was just bizarre.
It was.
And he's been, he seems to have been on it ever since then.
Right.
So how many years ago was Maui? 2?
I don't even know, but I just saw an update from our guy, Maui Real Estate. He was just this week. It's the first time I've seen him in a while, and he's driving down the road on a motorcycle or something.
Is his last name West?
Yes, it was West, and he's just showing videos of just building after building after building that's not been touched. It's still in the same burned out condition. So,
are you talking businesses or homes?
Businesses. He was going down a commercial line then. Well, Nick Sorter is saying New Jersey, I guess that's riot police, have just arrived in full force, sprinting at rioters who are violating the curfew. This is how it's done. Arrest them all. This is the video that he posted. So look, these are human beings here involved. We don't want anybody to be hurt. We don't want anybody to be injured. Absolutely. But you cannot allow people to just have unfettered chaos and rioting and burning things down.
This chaos has to be met with some action. I mean, there are people that are still trying to go to work and live their lives. They're not being paid to cause mischief and chaos.
Exactly.
They're still trying to maintain their life, and there's got to be some sort of protections for them. It can't be complete chaos.
Did you see the viral video of the garbage truck driver that they had the road blocked, and he just gets out and he's just, he almost bumped into one, and they were just trying to threaten him, and he gets out and he was just like, listen, what are you doing? Yeah. I just need to get to work. I have kids. I have a family. Do you not understand? You are blocking me from providing for my family. I don't get paid if I don't do this job.
Right.
And
you think they care?
They don't care.
They don't care. They don't care.
Because they're getting paid. They're getting paid. They're getting paid something.
Not only are they getting paid to do the things they're doing, this type of person probably cannot be reasoned with, okay?
Right.
They're not living in the same reality that you're living in.
Yeah.
They don't have the same kind of life that you have. So, they don't care.
They don't care. Speaking of don't care, Los Angeles, look at the condition of Los Angeles, and they've got a viral mayoral race on their hands.
Did you ever think? I never followed is it Spencer and Heidi?
From way back. We never saw that.
I never.
We didn't know who these people were.
I can't believe that I can even remember the names, because I definitely wasn't watching them back in the day. But I never thought.
No.
that
he probably didn't either. And, he didn't think nothing about it until his house burned. His house burned, his parents' house burned, and it's still in ruins. And he just said something's got to be done. So what's this? The early voting has started already. The actual election, I think, is Tuesday. But look what came out today. They're not even hiding it. Mail-in ballots torched and voting center attacked in L.A. right before Spencer Pratt's potential upset video. There's people literally predicting that he could literally, now he's not going to get the 50%. He's going to have to go to a runoff. But if he surpasses her, that's going to be really amazing.
Do you? Oh my goodness!
This is just getting ridiculous.
I honestly believe that she has been MK Ultra'd. I honestly believe
she's got something about her. When the fire went down, she had that clueless look in her face. I remember that, she was out of country.
Even to listen to her talk, even now, present day, I keep thinking, what?
This is getting ridiculous. Just one day before the election, a voting center in Los Angeles was vandalized and mail-in ballots were torched. The timing is beyond suspicious, especially when Spencer Pratt is mounting a serious challenge in the race.
By mail ballots were found burned inside a ballot box in Los Angeles just 2 days before the California primaries. Election officials discovered the damaged ballots and they filed a report with the police department. They say a separate voting center was also vandalized. Investigators are looking into both incidents and are working to identify any voters who have been affected. And the United States...
So I don't know I can't remember the name of this other lady that's on the far right, but they are both liberal Democrats. So what needs to happen is a major, shocking number for him. So because the top two is going to go in the runoff, and then they're saying it's almost impossible for him to win because the votes for both of them together is almost double what he's polling right now. Yeah. But from what I'm being told is word on the street is that there are people that it's almost like when the first Donald Trump, remember that, where people didn't want to admit that they were scared to death to admit that they were voting for him. And then he won and it shocked everybody, including Hillary Clinton. They're supposedly saying there's sort of like a movement going on with him that people are voting, but they don't want to say it out loud.
Look, something needs to happen before we lose that entire section of California.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's bad, people.
It's bad.
They need help, okay? Yeah. If there's any help that can come to them to improve their conditions, their living conditions, to improve just that whole region, I hope that they can get some help because it's crazy.
It is crazy.
It is really crazy. And it looks like it is on a complete downward trajectory with no hope in sight. So maybe he can, and maybe he will do
what he's running
good.
off of is he's just running off of, hey, look, somebody needs to clean the streets up. And the homeless are not homeless; they're drug addicts. And let's watch this little clip right here because I thought this was interesting.
I hope it's going to talk about how many streets that really bad part of LA
that's not on this. That's not on this. This is where he explains something to Myers, they say Bill Maher.
Bill
And
we want to thank Billy, our Billy Mitchell. He looked up, and it is going on 3 years since Maui. August will be 3 years.
There's our buddy John Crittenden. What's up, John? All right, so let's watch this.
Give them the opportunity then to have a job. Ready for the best part? 60% of the people in Los Angeles that are experiencing homelessness. They're ready. No, they're not from California. They've been brought here by NGOs that profit off of this homeless industrial complex. Medicaid.
Wait. They've been brought here?
They've been brought here.
Who did that?
Body brokers bring these people here.
From where?
All across the country. If you're an addict, you can come to LA and get these rehabs and use your Medicaid. You have a social security.
It's also, if you're going to be, shall we say, outdoors your whole life, it's better to be here than in Minneapolis.
100%. So a lot of
I
these
think that's
people,
part of the attraction. I don't know if this is a big plot.
No,
Do you think this is a big...
There's a big part where this is, like I talk to these people who are now sober, off fentanyl, off meth, and they say they got literally brought here through a rehab, trying to get off drugs. Their money runs out, boom, left on the street. This is multiple stories of this. So that's
that Tim Waltz. He never stops being evil.
So
is this a business like what was the last business we talked about that was tied to California where they had hundreds of
you're talking about they had the largest in that one county. They had more in that one county. Was it
than the whole country?
It was like nursing facilities or something like that.
Something like that?
Yeah. In the whole country, in one county.
So this is basically a business model where you get money to bring people here and supposedly walk them through rehab and rehabilitate
because what he's saying is California's law has so much in place for homeless benefits, so they're busting them in. He said 60% of the so-called drug addicts, he says that they're not really homeless, they're just drug addicts. And they're being given needles, they're being given all kinds of stuff to keep that going. And the money is going there. And you know what he's been doing? He's been going out and taking a pressure washer, putting a stencil over the nasty sidewalks and spraying it, and when he cleans it and pulls the stencil up, it says, "Wouldn't it be nice if all the sidewalks were this clean?" Oh. And he's just genius in his social media, his AI commercials that he's making. He's not having to spend a bunch of money. He's doing it on YouTube, and he's going viral. And a lot of people think that he's got a shot. I mean, it would be amazing if it was pulled off.
Yes, it would.
But yeah.
Because look at this situation with the crime, with the drugs, with the homelessness. Skid Row, it used to be so many blocks, and now it's like 3 to 5 times the area it used to encompass for the homelessness and all of that. But look at the film industry, how many people are out of a job, which means they probably can't stay in that area.
Right.
So it's like a collapsing economy along with this homelessness and crime and all the things they have to go through out there. Oh my goodness, I couldn't do it.
Let's finish this little video here, the last few seconds, because I thought it was very interesting.
Actually, but they're not from LA. So again, whether they go to this amazing facility that we have that has all these resources for treatment, not let you die in your feces on fentanyl, but you may want to go back to Oklahoma and we help facilitate getting you, now that you're sober, you probably have a mom, you probably have a cousin. If you don't, I was in South Central, give them the.
So yeah, he's tapped into something that I think is very, very interesting. And then today, she comes out, and I'm just having a blank here. What is her name?
Karen Bass.
Karen Bass. She comes out today, and she just, like you're talking about, is she MK Ultra and all that? And we don't. This is all allegedly.
It's like
it's allegedly.
It's like she's.
But this is what she said.
Does she seem a little euphoric, or maybe she's just a little out of it or something? I don't know what the right phrase or term is.
I don't want to say it. But
it's just like
she said today. She goes, "I want to say something." Yeah, when I became literally, and I'm paraphrasing, but this is what she said. Yeah, when I became, not long ago, L.A. was clean. L.A. was a place that people could come to, and they would bring their families and safe. But yeah, I'll be the first to admit it's dirty, it's nasty, it's very dangerous, and something needs to be done about
burned
it.
out.
And people were saying
all the things.
You're the mayor.
All the things.
You're listing the things that he's saying, but you're the mayor.
I saw that clip, and I'm thinking, wow, that's an indictment on yourself. What?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I don't even know.
Exactly.
Part of me wants to say, keep talking. Just give her some more rope. Just give her a little more rope.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
I don't know. I'm thankful that it's not as bad here. We have our own distinct problems.
Everybody does.
Everybody does.
Everybody does.
Oh, goodness gracious.
But the bottom line is this: what Spencer Pratt is saying is, we need to address the very serious issue. These are human beings, and they need to be helped, but they don't need to be just kept on the street. And it is not that they don't need a home; they need help to get off of drugs.
100%. Give them legitimate help. I mean, come on, these people. There's still hope. They can still turn it around and be a productive citizen and have a good life, or somewhat of a good life. Contribute to society, but. There's got to be a solid plan here. You cannot just throw money at this.
I mean, it's been proven that throwing money at any problem never fixes
Education, everything.
Especially when you're talking about a societal and a moral issue.
Yes.
You have to get to the spiritual root of the issue.
It's just like in Washington, D.C. Like we're going to legislate. Mm-hmm. We're going to legislate, people back into a good position with God, spiritualism, godliness. No, you can't do that.
Exactly. All right, let's move on. I don't know what to believe about Iran. I mean, it goes back and forth throughout the day, depending on who you listen to. Trump says Iran talks are continuing at a rapid pace. President Donald Trump is, in most recent update on the conflict, announced that the ongoing peace talks between the United States and Iran are continuing at that rapid pace, despite reports that Iran has ceased negotiations. Talks are continuing at a rapid pace with the Islamic Republic of Iran, the president said in a Truth Social. According to media reports, Iranian state media had claimed Tehran had ceased negotiations with the United States. The Iranian state news agency Tasnim reported that Tehran had halted indirect negotiations after Israel ordered an expansion of its offensive into Lebanon. When asked by reporters about Iran's involvement in the talks, Trump claimed that he had not been informed of such cessation. Quote, "It is an appropriate thing to say because they're better negotiators than they are fighters," Trump told NBC, but they haven't informed us of that. The president also posted to social media on Monday that he had a call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and discussed the fighting in Lebanon. "I had a very productive call with Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu of Israel, and there will be no troops going to Beirut, and any troops that are on their way have already been turned back. Likewise, through highly placed representatives, I had a very good call with Hezbollah, and they agreed that all shooting will stop, that Israel will not attack them, and they will not attack Israel." Netanyahu posted on X after this announcement confirming the call. "Tonight I spoke with President Trump and told him that if Hezbollah does not cease attacking our cities and citizens, Israel will attack terror targets in Beirut. The stance of ours remains unchanged. In parallel, the IDF will continue to operate as planned in southern Lebanon." Goes on to say that CENTCOM had also said the U.S. military had intercepted Iranian ballistic missiles targeting American forces based in Kuwait. However, the command gave no indication of a termination of the ceasefire, which has held since early April. U.S. Central Command remains vigilant and will continue to protect our forces from Iranian aggression while supporting the ongoing ceasefire. And it goes on and on and on. So you get up in the morning, talks are going great. By the afternoon, and maybe not. We're about to bomb again. By the time you go to bed, ceasefire is doing good.
This was a 90-day ceasefire?
I think so.
Okay, so
Maybe a 60 or 90, I can't remember.
So we're at the 60 right now.
Okay.
If it was early April, we're right at the door, or we are at the 60-day.
I think there's a renewal. I think there's a new one.
So
a new deadline.
I'm with you. I mean, I hear both sides of it. I hear there are no talks. He's never going to get them to agree to what he wants.
I personally do not think you'll ever get the RGC to agree. I mean, the radical Muslims, this is what they want. This is what their holy book tells them they have to be involved in for their savior to come.
Right.
So, but there's supposedly some people in Iranian government that are trying to negotiate. But how do you negotiate from within the government when you've got the religious radicals overriding that and actually run the military? Like you said, I don't see how. It doesn't look good. Okay. It doesn't look like there's an end in sight to me.
So we've got that I guess, ever so often. Was it yesterday or today? There were missiles launched.
I think it's every day.
Definitely in the last day or two. Today or yesterday, something happened. I don't think it was huge, but what about the Strait? I mean, I'm hearing, they are allowing up to 12 ships a day to get through there. And then you hear the complete opposite of that. It's very hard for us, the average citizen, to know what to believe.
Right.
Certainly, we're not there. We don't have friends that are boots on the ground that can tell us one way or another. And we're just, we sit here and try to figure it out when there's so many different news reports.
Well, make no mistake about it. Whether you love him or hate him, Donald Trump is a master negotiator. And I think that he hardly ever really tells the public what's really going on behind the scenes. Either way, good or bad, he's going to try to manipulate the press. And when he was asked about this today, he told CNBC, I don't care if negotiations are over. I could care less.
They're going to do what I want.
Yeah. All right, let's watch this little video here, I think. Well, that's not gonna work
With
out.
President Trump, what can you tell us?
Kelly, that's right. I called President Trump a short time ago, and he picked up to talk about the negotiations over the weekend with the Iranians. We had this report at the top of the day today that the Iranians were actually breaking off negotiations with the United States. That moved oil markets, and so that's what I asked the president about. I said, do you think the negotiations are over now, or is this a bluff by the Iranians? The president said, I don't care if they're over, honestly. I really don't care. I couldn't care less. If they're over, they're over. If they're not, I think they took too much time. Frankly, I think they started to get a little boring. The president said he thinks that the Iranian side was tapping us along, that is, that they were stalling for time. Ultimately, on oil prices, the president was confident that he said oil will be dropping like a rock. He said, ultimately, if the Iranians want to try and have a nuclear weapon, I will blow them up to kingdom come. He said what this is all about for him is a strongly held conviction that the Iranians should not ever be allowed to have a nuclear weapon, and that American voters will tolerate higher gas prices as long as they know what the goal is here. I also asked him about Netanyahu and the Israelis. I asked, it seems to be that the Iranians are saying they're not going to negotiate until Israel stops attacking in Lebanon. Have you talked to Netanyahu about it? I asked the president. He said, this is about 40 minutes ago, he said, no, but I'm going to ask him what's going on with Lebanon. They've been fighting for a long time. Now, since our call, just in the past couple of minutes, we've seen a report on Reuters that crossed the wires a short time ago suggesting that the president has now called Netanyahu to discuss that. But at the time that he and I spoke, he suggested that, in fact, they had not talked yet. So then I asked him, what is the end game here in terms of the Strait of Hormuz? How ultimately are we going to get out of the situation that we're in? The president said he thinks that NATO should come in and help the United States out. He said they're the ones. He said, we don't use the strait. We don't need it. We have a lot of oil. And I said, have you talked to anybody at NATO about that? Have they changed their tune on coming in to help the United States in the strait? He said they would if I wanted to, but we don't need them. We don't need NATO. They were very weak and very sad. And the last thing I would leave you with is this idea of where we go from here. I asked the president, when all this is over, how do you bring this to an end if negotiations are not happening and the ceasefire is in place? I asked him, is it time to end the ceasefire? And the president said, we'll see. Let's say I knew exactly what what you're asking me to do, and I sort of do know it. Why would I tell you? So the president there suggesting that he does have a plan that he's not going to talk to the media about, naturally, to end this situation. But clearly, the president suggesting that he doesn't care that negotiations have wound down with the Iranians. And he thought that the Iranians stringing the U.S. along in the first place and that those negotiations took too long. So there you have the U.S. response, Kelly, to what we saw this morning from the Iranian side saying that they were breaking off negotiations.
Your thoughts?
Well, sounds kind of different than what the president is saying, right? If they're saying they're breaking off and he's like, oh, they're going, we're close. We're close.
Then he says, you know what? If they want to quit, I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care.
Wow. But he did say gas is going to be dropping like a rock.
We're dropping like a rock.
All I know is a week and a half ago, it was the highest I have ever seen.
No, it was not. No, it was not.
Yeah.
No, it was almost $5 before.
I don't remember that.
You forget. You forget how quickly you forget.
But it's back down, what do you say, 25?
Yeah. 25
cents from that high point.
And let's just real quick hit that. How ridiculous is gas prices, how they can move up and down like that? And it has nothing to do with the oil prices. We're not even using the oil over there. It's just the market. They could just say the same gas that's in the ground, you can change the price on it. It's already in the tanks, in the ground, at the gas station. Not new gas. They keep telling you it's new gas, and maybe it is tied to a little bit of new gas. But y'all, you can't just change it on the fly 2 and 3 times a day. It's just a racket.
I don't think it's that erratic, but yeah, when it wasn't even $3.
I got to interrupt you. Poker John's good. Gas dropping like a rock. Iraq. That's pretty good.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry. I couldn't resist.
Oh, wow.
All right. So, look, I guess we're going to see what we're going to see. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is just pray for the peace of Jerusalem, pray for the peace of America.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
I mean, ultimately,
it's like you do have to wait almost from day to day because you really can't trust a lot of what you hear.
No,
Now, I understand good planning and hopeful expectations, but reality doesn't often line up with that. And, maybe the president does have a master strategy. I hope he does.
I hope he does too.
Because at this point, it's beginning to sound a little like a broken record.
BGTV Studios is in the house.
Hello.
What's up? My brother Brad's in the house. He's awesome.
Special
If you don't
friend.
follow BGTV Studios, you need to go right now. All right, so let's move on to another subject here. Africa CDC says over 1,100 suspected Ebola cases in DR Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Uganda. More than 1,100 people were suspected of having contracted Ebola in Congo and Uganda. The head of the African Union's health agency said on Sunday. Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention director said that there were 263 confirmed cases in both countries as of Saturday, with 43 confirmed deaths. More than 1,100 suspected cases are still being investigated. And on Thursday, the Africa CDC said that there had been 246 suspected deaths from the virus. We must move at the speed, listen to the wording, we must move at the speed of the epidemic, criticizing Africa's dependence on outside financial support. The health ministers of Congo, Uganda, and South Sudan recently adopted a $319 million response plan for the outbreak. That momentum must now expand across the continent. Ebola outbreak is a serious test for the Africa CDC and African Union. They said this outbreak will not be the last. It was declared on May 15th, the outbreak, in northeast Congo, which is home to more than 100 million people and is one of the poorest countries in the world. The virus, which can cause a deadly hemorrhagic fever, has been detected in 3 Congolese provinces as well as in Uganda. No vaccine or approved treatment is available against this strain of the virus, and efforts to contain its spread rely mainly on preventative measures. The WHO has triggered an international health alert, but the true scale of the outbreak is not yet known. International health authorities believe the current figures are likely an underestimation.
That's bad. What is the, what do they call it? Time? Incubation time?
Yeah, incubation. I don't know what that is.
Because Hanta, we could possibly very soon see a surge in that, because I think it has up to a 3-week incubation period, unless I heard that incorrectly.
I don't know, but I hadn't heard anything else about that.
We've heard the last of that. It's been a couple of weeks now since we were having to hear those stories in news, but this is very serious.
Yeah.
Ebola is very serious.
So Donna is saying that in Long Beach, their gas is $6.99. Oh my goodness.
I told you that the European equivalent was about $10 a gallon. And in some places, 5 of that is a tax. Can you imagine?
5 of that is what?
Tax.
A tax? Oh, wow. Okay.
Crazy.
Well, we got the World Cup coming up, and The Hill is reporting that Ebola triggers fears over public health ahead of the World Cup travel
A lot of
surge.
people are bracing themselves for this event.
A recent outbreak of Ebola cases in Africa is sparking fresh concern from public health officials in the United States about the spread of communicable diseases ahead of next month's World Cup. The tournament will be played in more than a half a dozen cities across North America and is expected to bring hundreds of thousands of visitors to the continent. While U.S. health officials insist a major outbreak of Ebola in the U.S. is highly unlikely, the matches and large crowds they will bring is leading to a fresh wave of worry about the spread of disease. The U.S. State Department, in conjunction with Canada and Mexico, acknowledged the Ebola outbreak in Africa as it announced what it called new aligned health measures for the individuals coming from the region at greatest risk from the virus. This coordinated approach aims to protect our citizens and the millions of visitors, fans, athletes, and tourists expected during the FIFA World Cup 2026, while maintaining travel and commerce across our borders, the governments said in a joint statement. The health and safety of every person in the region remains our highest priority as we welcome the world to North America. The measure came as President Trump's administration has sought to crack down on international travels and continues to take steps to ensure Americans infected are exposed to the Ebola virus remain overseas. It is pretty reasonable to assume we're not well prepared to handle anything like this. Glenn Nowak, a former Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Center official and infectious disease expert, told The Hill, quote, "There's been a lot of things that have happened in public health that have weakened the system. There are more divides in red states versus blue states in terms of their approach to public health these days. So we're not prepared if there were some sort of large spread outbreak. This summer's World Cup will be just the second played since the coronavirus pandemic that killed millions of people around the world. Ebola and hantavirus, two diseases that popped up in various locations around the globe in recent weeks, are much less easily spread than COVID. But there are still major questions about the safety of travelers coming to watch the soccer matches in North America."
Does this make you think of anything getting ready for these games?
You mean, what do you mean specifically?
I'm talking about COVID. I'm talking about
Sure.
China. We had military games. I don't know if it was
the language
from
that they're
countries
using
all over the world, but when those people came back home, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't too long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had to hear about pangolins and wet markets and everything that ensued after that. So, yeah, we need to pray. We need to be praying about this. When does that kick off? How quick? How soon?
I think they said next month. I think it starts next month. Yeah. And it's not just America, it's North America, but mainly in the United States.
Right. Lots of people coming.
Well, hey, it's perfect time for us just to remind you that the Final Flood is available now. It is a bestseller. I'm so thankful for that. We've got over 200 now. It's 4.9, but you see it's still 5 stars there. I think it's like 1 or 2 guys out there or somebody gave me a 4-star, and that's okay. It's 4.9, but I'm going to call it 5 stars. 215. I'm so thankful for all the reviews. You guys have been amazing. Some of you are making videos, pictures of you holding the book. If you haven't got it yet, guess what? If you've been waiting on the audio version, good news. Audio version is available now. You just go to thefinalflood.com, thefinalflood.com. You get a paperback Kindle version if you like to read it on your tablet, your phone, or if you just like to listen to it. And a lot of you do audiobooks. It is now available on audiobook. So get your copy of The Final Flood today. Sure would appreciate it. And I believe it will equip you to understand a little bit more about what's going on in this world that we're in right now.
Yeah. The book was expertly timed.
It was expertly timed, yeah. But not by us. We did not expertly time it. It was a God thing. We did not see that coming.
Totally.
All right. So let's shift over and remind everybody there's still a war going on in Ukraine. Did we forget about that war?
I regularly forget that that's still a thing.
And it's sad because regularly people are losing their lives.
They are.
It's horrible.
And things are being destroyed.
Things are being destroyed.
And all of that.
So Ukraine has deliberately attacked a Russian nuclear power plant. The Ukrainian military attacked Russia's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. I know I nailed it. Puncturing a hole in the machine hull of one, I think it's supposed to be hull, of one of the facility's units. Alexei Likhachev, CEO of the Russian Likhachev, CEO of the Russian State Nuclear Corporation, Rosatom, said the ZNPP, which has been repeatedly attacked by Kiev forces over the past years, came under new attack on Saturday with a fiber optics guided drone, making it to the machine hull, I guess it was supposed to be hull, of the 6th power unit of the plant. Given that much munitions are guided by their operators until the impact, the strike was carried out deliberately, and in any, quote, theories of an accidental hit can be ruled out. One could, if I may put it this way, congratulate the entire international community. This is the first ever deliberate attack on the nuclear power plant's main equipment with a penetrative explosion and damage to the machine hull. So very interesting, the escalation that is happening. And also very interesting that, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we're really sending the kind of money we were sending before, but yet they're continuing to be able to fight this war when they said they couldn't do it without our money.
How about that?
Yeah, it's just interesting to me. And I don't know. And remember, President Donald Trump said that could be ended in 24 hours with a phone call.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Exactly.
We're not just bashing Donald Trump tonight, but the truth is, I think the world is a lot more difficult to solve than anyone thought. Because we are in the days of Noah, and it is wars and rumors of wars continuously. That is what Matthew 24 said. Wars and rumors of wars.
So true.
Well, I think, is this one of the 15 that's missing? I think it is. Remains of missing Los Alamos National Laboratory staffer found in New Mexico, left behind a wiped phone. This story of these scientists is just really getting bizarre.
Okay.
The remains of a staffer who went missing in 2025 have been found. Human remains have been found by a hiker in New Mexico National Forest in late May, and those remains have been identified as belonging to Melissa Cassius. Per NBC News, the discovery of the remains of the McAfee Ridge area of Carson National Forest was reported on Thursday. The New Mexico Medical Investigators Office identified the remains of those as Cassius, an administrative assistant at the Los Alamos National Laboratory. New Mexico State Police said in a statement on Saturday, quote, investigators also learned that a handgun was located alongside the remains. Cassius was reported missing on June 26 after she failed to show up for her work. Her supervisor called her husband looking for her. Her husband said that she had dropped him off at the laboratory where they both work early on the day, and she went missing. He said that she had told him she was going to another location within the lab to finish a work task, but did not return as planned. Sierra, the couple's daughter, said she later found her mother's keys as well as her cell phone that had been wiped and reset to factory settings in the family's home in Ranchos de Teos. Cassius was found around 6 miles from the home and had been seen walking along the highway nearby the day she was reported missing. Mark, her husband, said he went through the documents following his wife's disappearance that showed that she was under a large amount of stress at the time. While people didn't rule out foul play, police didn't rule out foul play, they said in 2025 that it may be the case. Cassius is one of around a dozen people connected to sensitive U.S. nuclear or aerospace research who have died or disappeared in recent years. The FBI said in April that it was examining the matter. The agency said it is spearheading the effort to look for the connections into the missing and deceased scientists. The department is coordinating with the Department of Energy, Department of War, and state and local law enforcement partner agencies. The White House also said at the time that they would be reviewing the matter. The one thing that jumped out at me, other than the fact that her phone was wiped,
right,
and that she had a gun, is it sounds very similar to what's the guy named General McCaskill or something?
McCaslin.
They just said McCaslin. They said he just took off for a walk.
General Neil McCaslin.
Is this also? And then we're just speculating here. Pure speculation.
Supposedly
is this
seen
MK Ultra
walking along the road.
She was 6 miles away from her home into this park.
Yeah.
And, walking into this park, it almost sounds like, okay, your phone's wiped.
Yeah.
It's either
you finish wiping your phone, you decide to go for a walk. Does that?
No.
That doesn't make sense.
Doesn't add up.
And there's even I think this is new information about the general that supposedly the night before he went to dinner with colleagues or whatever.
Yeah, I heard that.
And I think that this is done to confuse the matter and to confuse people sometimes. Maybe it is true. I don't know. Maybe they dressed someone up to look like him so that they could capture them on restaurant cameras. Who knows? I don't know. What is your opinion? Do you think he was taken out or do you think he was taken away? Because, he had a lot of knowledge.
I think my answer is it could be either. But my mind goes to, it just actually sounds to me like something was triggered inside of them and they were just told leave. Because, it's like you keep hearing stories of let me finish. You keep hearing the stories of them telling their families, hey, I'm just going down the road, or I'm going, she looks at her husband, she has a child, and she tells her husband, have a good day. I'm going on the other side to finish this project. I'll talk to you later.
What was her specialty? What was her field of specialty? Because if you want to try to lump them in the same kind of scenario.
It just calls her an administrative assistant at the Los Alamos National Laboratory.
Her body and remains have supposedly been found.
Right.
We're supposedly still looking for the general.
Yeah.
And to muddy the waters further, there are recordings of his wife saying, he was struggling lately with his condition. And what is it she said?
Is it an onset of dementia?
He was frustrated with his condition, and I think that's what she was talking about.
Okay.
Struggling with maybe some mental capacity or whatever. And so, I don't know. Me, this is my opinion.
Okay.
I think there was a plan to bring him back in because they needed his knowledge base and experience.
Because of the rollout of disclosure? Or something that's coming?
Maybe disclosure, but he supposedly had worked so intensively in the field of antigravitics, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think so.
And he had been through so many facets of that program. He had his hands on a lot of things and in a lot of things, and he was very intelligent and had been exposed to a lot.
And you can't, when you know that, when we know that much about him, that's been at least told to us that we know that much about him. That means that there's so much more probably about him that we don't know. And when you have somebody that valuable, I see what you're saying, and I agree with you. It could be either or. We need to get rid of him, or we need him. And it sounds like convenient to say that.
How about we can't allow anyone else to get him?
Yeah.
If nothing else, but I don't think he had been supposedly active, because I think I don't know if this is absolutely true, that he was working with private contractors. But this woman who said she went to dinner with him, I think she was possibly not a government worker, but possibly a private contractor. I don't know. It's just trying to keep all of this straight is a lot.
I think one of the things that we're learning the further we get into this is most of this is being done by private contractors.
Yes.
And for so long, people said the government, we don't know when, but at some point started offloading this for plausible deniability, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So it's like, there's still generals and people in the military involved, but this thing goes so deep into the NGOs and, and just the
right. And we've talked about this
government
before. What if it's something that aspects of it spun out of control, or maybe the whole thing was trying to spin out of control, whereas when they turned this over to private contractors, maybe they couldn't even get access back to parts of it. And maybe the government wasn't fully aware or fully read into their capabilities, what was going on, where things were kept, so on and so forth. I'm throwing this out as a hypothesis. I certainly don't know that for sure, but I don't know if you want to say something as harsh as when you play with the devil, you don't know.
Yeah.
He has different rules maybe than you have. But when you turn something over to someone for that plausible deniability and that protection, you don't know what's going to happen.
No, I don't say something. Crocky over there saying the government is being run by private contractors. And I see the laughing emoji. I'm not necessarily saying that the government's being run. I think I'm saying the government is running private contractors, and I think they're going both ways. So in some ways, if you are not attached to a country, and you're not accountable to a country, and you have multiple countries, people representative from different countries, all involved in something so dark and sinister, and you've got unlimited amount of money with it as well. Ultimately, you're probably more powerful than a country because you don't have to obey by law. You're not bound by law. So I don't know. I know this is tinfoil hat. We need our tinfoil hats on right now.
It's very questionable when you have the government who, they quasi-protect the people that they give this technology to that are exploiting and researching these technologies to see what they can do. You don't know exactly what they're doing. And then when you have the big oil industry, well, the government and these private contractors are aware that some of this technology might make the use of oil obsolete.
Yeah.
That we wouldn't necessarily need that in every application that we're using it now. So the oil barons want to keep that technology secret too.
Yep.
They don't want the average citizen to understand how, quite frankly, you've been suppressed for decades and decades.
Yep. Satellite images reveal China is building nuke launch pads and bunkers. While we're involved in all this other stuff that we're going on, lo and behold, satellites are showing us this. New satellite imagery has exposed China's aggressive construction of dozens of nuclear missile launch pads and supporting bunkers deep in the Xinjiang autonomous region. The images show more than 80 launch pads built over the last 6 years in the remote desert, located within 150 kilometers of the existing Hami nuclear silo fields, housing some of China's longest range missiles. These new facilities are connected by airfields and railheads, forming part of a vast military network spanning thousands of square kilometers. At its center are distinctive octagon-shaped structures designed to house personnel in large military vehicles. Experts suggest the pads could support mobile air defense missiles, electronic warfare systems, or even mobile intercontinental ballistic missiles. The development comes amid China's broader push to modernize its nuclear forces, which were prominently displayed during a major military parade in Beijing last September, marking the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. Let's zoom back in on these pictures here, and you can see, satellite are showing us that they have multiple nuclear launch pads there. So, this is the new Cold War. The new Cold War is really not with Russia, it's with China. And China is not slowing down and not obeying, apparently, the nuclear proliferation agreement, if it's even still in place. I don't know if that got canceled or not, but that's alarming.
It's really amazing. I don't know how many cities, but you see the videos and the pictures of these cities they've built. And I'm not talking about the ghost cities with all, you could house 100 million people in this one city and all these skyscrapers. I'm talking about just the infrastructure, the buildings, the big cities that draw so many businesses there, so many visitors there. I mean, when you compare America, modern America, and our cities that are, the infrastructure is suffering, if not collapsing, to what they've done in the last 20 years, is it not a stark comparison?
It is.
That if you really want to look at it, and I'm not saying it's the whole country or even the majority of their cities, but look at New York City and Los Angeles compared to these cities that they are building.
Right.
I just didn't shake my head. I'm like, what in the world?
But then there's also the alleged rumor out there that the population of China is nothing like it's being told.
We've heard
that it's along the numbers of our own country.
Exactly. I was going to say, we've heard as low as 1/3 of what we're told.
Yeah.
Which is what, 1 billion? Because India had surpassed them a little while ago because they're now over 1 billion people. So it's really hard to know what the truth is. China,
in everything.
But China has long been very secretive.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, there is one place that you can find the truth.
That's true.
I keep it in front of me right here.
Absolutely.
It's the Word of God.
Yes.
You need to get you a paper Bible, y'all.
We do.
You can't hack that. The digital AI can't hack this.
Yep.
It's a paper
You
Bible.
need
You hear
a
that?
physical copy.
You hear that? Look at that. Listen to that, AI.
100%.
Can't touch this. No. Can't touch this. How about this? You get a little bit concerned about this. Several men are caught on video entering the sewer manholes in Brooklyn, then emerging hours later. According to a report from CBS New York, video footage captured at least 7 men climbing out of a sewer manhole in Brooklyn near early Friday morning, prompting an urgent police probe into the activities underground. The incident unfolded on McDonald Avenue and Collin Lane in Flatbush late Thursday night. Witnesses and surveillance captured these men, some wearing waders and gloves, gathering around the manhole under the glow of flashlights and nearby car headlights before descending one by one into the darkness. Just after 2 a.m., the same group reemerged from the depths. They appeared to change clothes on the roadside, with some shirtless, before replacing the manhole cover and departing the scene. The sound of the heavy lid lifting echoed in the footage. The 911 call alerted officers, but the men had already vanished by the time the police arrived. NYPD investigators returned to the location later that afternoon, joined by other crews, lowered specialized cameras into the sewer to assess potential damage to the infrastructure. Entering the sewer system is both illegal and extremely dangerous. Sewers can contain numerous hazards, including noxious and potentially deadly gases, unstable surfaces, flooding risk, and confined spaces. The agency urged the public to never enter such areas. Police have ruled out any immediate terrorism connection, of course, and are working to identify the individuals who could face burglary charges. A similar incident was reported in Williamsburg along the same time, where 8 people entered a manhole in Bedford Avenue before fleeing in a vehicle. No arrests have been made in this case. Well, they're saying theft, but the concern was terrorism.
Sure.
And of course, immediately, no ties to terrorism. I mean, would we even be told if there were? But it's just very alarming.
Just seems like they were up to no good. Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Most people don't go underground for several hours with multiple of their friends.
Right.
I mean, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, can you imagine the gas that is down there that you would have to breathe? Literal gas, if you know what I mean.
So many dangers, so many bad things down there.
Well, let's shift gears a little bit here. President Trump, back to President Trump here. He is now revealing a new concept design for the White House ballroom. Y'all, this ballroom is turning into like a bunker on steroids. Now has a drone port. Okay, this is an AI version of trucks and drones and troops on top of it. President Trump on Sunday afternoon released 2 concept images of the rooftop of his proposed White House ballroom, which features a drone port. In a post on Truth Social, the drone port at the White House ballroom will be perhaps the most sophisticated anywhere in the world. It will safeguard our nation's capital long into the future. The 47th president later called out the judge that had stopped the construction. It's a 90,000 square foot ballroom. Trump says the White House ballroom drone port will safeguard Washington, blah, blah, blah. Let's watch this little video that we got here of this reporter talking about the drone port.
Donald Trump has unveiled new details of his proposed drone port on the roof of the White House ballroom. The US president posted an AI-generated image or images online depicting drones and troops on top of the building. He's calling on a lawsuit hindering the project to be dismissed. Posting on Truth, he says the drone port at the White House ballroom will be perhaps the most sophisticated anywhere in the world. It'll safeguard our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., long into the future. With the advent of highly sophisticated and powerful modern-day weaponry, we can no longer defend Washington, D.C. with rifles and pistols alone. This ridiculous lawsuit must be dismissed immediately.
Okay. I want to go back to this article to pick up on this information here. Let me see if it says what I'm hoping that it says. It says Trump last week noted that the ballroom roof will also be constructed with impenetrable steel that can withstand a direct attack. And of course, this is some of the imagery that he's holding up. Well, I saw a video, and I don't have it tonight, and some of you may have seen it, where he's standing out there with a construction site. And I think he said that it's going to be at least 4 levels underground, and 2 of those levels underground have already been finished. And he's standing in front of the hole. You know, at first we saw it leveled, but then you can see that they're building down below, and there's like a hole there. And while they're constructing this, so it's going to be a place apparently that is what is sounding like is underneath the ballroom is going to be the place that if we're ever attacked, all of the government goes to.
Okay.
It's going to be that kind of bunkers, apparently.
Well, supposedly there are tunnels all under Washington, D.C., and there's, obviously places where they are sent for safety.
And yes, many in the live chat are saying what is true. The government is not paying for this.
Right.
It is through Trump and other donations of companies, which, by the way, the majority of all the money is AI giants, tech giants.
Exactly.
That were in the room the first week of his presidency. Remember that?
Oh, how can we forget?
Come on.
Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
I think about it all the time.
I mean,
Crazy.
they literally sat at that table, and everybody at that table was either a multimillionaire or billionaire in the AI tech world.
Modern day giants. I think we call them titans, right? The tech titans.
The giants, the Nephilim. These are the modern Nephilim, y'all. And let's not forget, one of the first thing he did, I think it was it the second day in office, or maybe in the first day in office, what he did, the Stargate? I think that what it called?
That was the day after the inauguration.
Day after inauguration, Project Stargate. And we're going to talk about AI centers tonight. I've got something I'm going to say about AI. I'm going to ask a question about AI data centers tonight that I haven't even addressed yet. And we're just at the halfway point of the program tonight. Maybe a little bit more than halfway. Wow. But
hey, I watched a little documentary video about Mar-a-Lago, and apparently also under Mar-a-Lago there are tunnels, and the lady who built it, she built it so that the staff were hardly ever seen. Thank you for that super chat.
Thank you, big loner.
And so kind of like Disney World, how they use the under the street tunnels and everything. Yeah. There are those kind of places for moving around, for storage.
Interesting.
Underneath Mar-a-Lago. So I thought that was interesting.
But he bought that. So that had to have been made by someone else. And he just inherited that when he bought it.
Definitely. This was built, I don't know, maybe in the early 1900s. I can't remember what year, but very interesting.
I'll tell you what else is interesting. Here, the Watchman Conference that Sandy and I are going to be at in Springville, Missouri. It's going to be amazing. And I got big news tonight. Breaking news. If you can't go and be there in person as of yesterday, on-demand access is now available. You can get access to watch the entire thing from your home.
This is so great.
This is amazing.
So exciting.
So go to, the link is down below, hearthewatchman.com, MEN, hearthewatchmen.com. It's called Remnant Rising 2.0, Friday, August 7th through Sunday, August 9th. We both will be there. We'll have a booth there with our books, but more than anything, I'll be speaking during the conference. And I was informed that they're going to have a Sunday chapel, Sunday worship service. Listen to me. If you live anywhere near Springfield, Missouri, or you can drive there, totally free. There's no ticket required. The Sunday service that I will be preaching will be free and open to the public. So you can come and be a part of it. And guess what? If you want to be baptized, we're going to baptize right after. Me and Jamie Walden are going to get in the swimming pool, and we're going to baptize everybody that wants to be baptized. It's going to be amazing. So the conference ticket access is for the Friday and Saturday services. Okay. I was told that Sunday morning, or Sunday worship, whatever time that is, I can't remember what time it is, that I'll be speaking at, is free and open to the public. It will be praise and worship music. There'll be preaching, and then there will be a baptism afterwards. If you can't go and you want to get access, guess what? You go to hearthewatchman.com, you click on demand, and you'll see that it's $39, and that gives you direct access to everything that's going to be involved in that. Now, here's the thing. This is early bird pricing. I think if I remember correctly, on June 15th, which is just a week away, 2 weeks away, June 15th is when it goes up $20, and the permanent price will be $59. And we don't set these prices. We are guests here, and we're just very thankful for Mike and Jenny.
Yes.
And I think they've made it extremely affordable for what you're going to get. This is incredible amount of information that is going to happen there. And so if you want to get streaming access and you can't afford to go there, you can't get off work, $39 gets you access to everything, and it's going to go up in 2 weeks. Wow. All that is linked down below. And by the way, if you do go, let me say this. If you do go, the price for in-person is going up to, I think, $120. The early bird pricing was $100, but if you use the code Ragland20 at checkout, just go to hearthewatchman.com right here.
Look at all those speakers.
Look,
this is great.
It's John Pounders, Jamie Walden, Tony Merkel, Joe Horn, Derek Gilbert, Sharon Gilbert, Vicky Joy Anderson, Dave Hodges, Kenny C., Josh Tolley, Tracy Tennant, Larry Ragland, and that's Larry and Sandy Ragland, of course. But if you use Ragland20, no spaces, you get $20 off and take it back to $100. So look, hey, we are honored to be a part of this. It is going to be so exciting.
It's going to be fun.
We're taking a road trip, y'all. We're driving out there. So come out there and meet us. We'll be out there all during that conference. We would love to meet you. Amen? All right. So let's continue. You ready?
Do it.
This is a crazy news item. This just popped up, and I just, out of nowhere, I said, I got to include this. This is a tragedy, but it's also shocking that this is still happening.
Yeah.
At least 5 people have been killed, 3 missing after a World War II era bomb explodes. Did you hear about this?
I haven't heard about this. I've, obviously, like you said, you hear about similar incidences, but I haven't heard this one. How terrible, though.
I mean, think about how long that's been. Just it says,
right.
A decades-old bomb exploded beneath a home, killing at least 5 people. The explosive detonated in the Indonesian's Papua province on Sunday, leaving at least 5 people dead and 5 others hospitalized with injuries. 3 more people are missing. The Jakarta Globe reported that the explosion occurred below a stilt house located near the shoreline. Authorities believe the bomb was left in the area during World War II. The explosion is suspected to have originated from a World War II era bomb. It says, did not immediately respond to the people's request for comment.
So you're talking about...
It's insane.
Almost 80 years? Is
yeah.
That?
Let's see what this here shows. I have not watched this, so. Wow.
5 orang dilaporkan meninggal dunia, sementara 3 lainnya masih.
Okay. Says it shared footage of the aftermath of the large explosion, revealing that several buildings were destroyed by the impact. Video shows roofs ripped off and residences surrounded by debris. Ooh. So you have to ask the question: how many more bombs around the world after all these decades are just waiting?
They didn't say exactly what.
They didn't say what triggered it.
What triggered? Like there was earthquake activity. I mean,
I don't think so. Goodness. Let me see. Let me see if it says anything about that. No, there's just literally not a single word about what could have caused it to go off. It's crazy. Well, how about this one? This one's freaky. Google is wanting to release 32 million disease-fighting mosquitoes across Florida and California. Why Google?
Yeah, and what diseases are they talking about?
Exactly. Google has asked the EPA for permission. What is Google doing with mosquitoes? Okay, that's my question. For permission to release up to 32 million treated mosquitoes across Florida and California, the largest release of its kind ever proposed in the United States. The mosquitoes are all male, so none of them bite. Who knew that the women were the only ones that bit? I didn't know that. It's the women. Ooh. It's that woman you gave us, Lord. It's that woman mosquito. So every time it's a female. They carry Wabachia, okay, a natural bacterium that prevents wild females. This story gets juicier. That prevents wild females from producing eggs that hatch. And wild female mosquitoes. Released week after week, the males quietly shrink the local mosquito population from within without any chemical sprays. Producing them at this scale is the real challenge. And Google leans on automation to do it. Rearing robots raise the larva, and AI vision sorts the males from the females.
The robots are overseeing.
They're making the larva. They're overseeing the baby mosquitoes. Robots. And look at what they named them. Rearing robots. That means parental, right?
Exactly.
Parental robots raise the larva, and AI vision sorts the males from the females, since releasing females would defeat the whole point. The method has a track record. In Singapore, where Google has run the program, who knew this? Since 2018. Is that how you say that? Dengue?
Yeah, dengue fever.
Dengue cases fell by more than 70%, and the company has now released over 1 billion mosquitoes across 4 continents. The U.S. plan is now under EPA review. If approved, it would be the biggest test yet of whether this approach can work across American states. I want to know your thoughts in the live chat.
Exactly.
I want to know your thoughts on this one.
To know what you guys are thinking. Bill Gates already did this, right?
Yeah.
Last year, a couple of years ago, whatever. But this is crazy.
They've been doing this since 2018.
Yeah, they just didn't tell us.
They just didn't tell us.
I wonder what these other countries think about this.
Well, who else is doing it?
Right.
You think they're the only ones that have the talent? And why is Google, why is mosquitoes a part of Google?
Right.
And you got AI mama nurturing robots. Come here, baby. Come here, baby. There's you a boy, you a girl, you a boy. And you got AI coming in.
Yeah, how do they
This is insane.
Successfully sort them? Oh, my goodness.
This is insane, y'all. AI is sorting the male and the female, that the robots, mothers and daddies or whatever.
They're rearing
They're
robots.
rearing them. They're rearing robots. What? Jesus, you got to come.
I didn't see that one coming. And I've not heard of robot rearing anywhere.
No, I've not heard that term.
And I thought Bill Gates was the only person that had an interest in this. So
rearing robots. That's a new term we're going to use here. Rearing robot. When we see a new robot, we're going to ask the question: Do you think any of them are rearing?
No, we're not going to do that.
Okay, so look, we've talked a lot about the importance of bees.
Yes.
Bees are disappearing. Well, we got 2 things in the news about bees today. The federal bee lab. Who knew we had a federal bee lab? But it's being shut down. Shutting down the federal bee lab threatens the U.S. food system.
Yeah.
American bees and beekeepers are losing a valuable ally just when they needed help most. The U.S. Department of Agriculture plans to soon close the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center, a 6,500-acre agricultural research center in Maryland that is home to the nation's premier bee research and disease diagnosis hub. The closure comes at a critical moment for bees. In winter 2025, many beekeepers lost over half their operations as pesticide-resistant varroa mites spread, bringing deadly viruses. The losses have led to low honey production, and soaring fuel costs have made shipping bees cross-country for agricultural pollination increasingly expensive, further stressing the industry.
Right. It's quite an amazing thing. Obviously, we need bees to pollinate for agriculture, but these owners that literally start in, I don't know if they start in the South, the warmest climates, and they move their bees to different farms because, you have a window of time where, in the North, it's warming up a little later, and maybe some growing cycles are a little bit behind the more warm climates. but they move these from place, they take them from place to place to do this pollination. And to hear that so many percentage of them were attacked by this mite, this is bad. It's bad.
Honeybees contribute roughly $15 billion to U.S. crop production. Native and managed bees pollinate more than 130 crops. These labs help stabilize the nation's food system. Today, that scientific support system is at risk, just as beekeepers face their greatest challenges and native bee populations continue to decline. Well, the next story is demand disaster. This is from the U.S. Sun. Honey lovers warned over nationwide shortages after health craze creates major demand. So you've got honey production down, and then you've got this health thing that we're going to talk about here. It says, while Walmart rolls out a Gen Z-inspired sugar cane drink and Starbucks touts protein coffee, Mike's Hot Honey chief executive has revealed the limitations of this trend. CEO Matt Beaton told Yahoo Finance that several factors have contributed to the supply issue facing the company. Notably, artificial sweeteners and products containing high fructose corn syrup are being removed from SNAP under the Health Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Kennedy Jr. has seen multiple states sign up for sugary reductions to the food benefit program, but mainly growing interest in value-added honey products such as hot honey is offset by record lows in honey domestic production. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, 116 million pounds of honey were produced in the U.S. last year. This is down 14% from 24, marking the lowest amount the U.S. has ever produced since records began in 1939.
A 14% reduction in 1 year?
In 1 year.
That's bad.
That's bad. And that's the lowest ever since 1939. And 1.6 million honeybees colonies have been lost from 04 to 05. Just 1 year there. Beaton said this has forced Mike's Hot Honey to turn to other suppliers. So we see the bee population going down, therefore it begins to snowball into the honey. But the biggest issue is, of course, the pollination. So many different plants rely on bees.
Absolutely. You think all this chemtrails and spraying affects,
of course,
the colonies, the bees as well?
Yeah.
As it affects so many other things.
Exactly. Well, like I said, we're rapid firing tonight. It is now being reported that health insurance now costs more than a mortgage, according to Obamacare.
And you won't have to change your doctor.
Yeah, well, don't get me started on that.
Yeah, don't get us started on that.
Yeah, that's okay. Healthcare costs shouldn't eclipse the cost of owning a home, but for millions of Americans, that's exactly what's happened. So that's just a rapid fire news article there. I just wanted to read the headline there that for a lot of people, that's the case. It's not the case for everybody, but for a lot of people, it is the case that you can't afford health care, and it's Obamacare it was promoted as what was it called, Affordable Health Care Act or something, and otherwise known as Obamacare. And I'm telling you, I know y'all's did too. Our insurance skyrocketed. I mean, it's never plateaued. It's almost like a hockey stick. I mean, it's insane.
It's
really and then if you try to use it in your deductible, come on, it's ridiculous. We have a lot of experience with insurance. That's all I'm going to say. Well, you know what? I hear something. Where are they at?
The Supernatural AI Update. Brought to you by Uncle Jimmy.
It's the Supernatural AI Update.
Thank you for that super chat.
Grove Gene 7. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Wonderful.
Wow. Well, we just got one thing tonight to talk about disclosure. Senate White House plan for disclosure of alien life leaked, and insiders fear mass panic. According to a report from Daily Mail, the White House is actively preparing for the possibility of revealing evidence of non-human intelligence amid growing concerns about widespread societal disruption. The administration recently released a second batch of previously classified UFO files featuring compelling footage that has heightened speculation. One video shows an object accelerating almost instantaneously over Syria, while others depict a disc-shaped craft moving across Afghanistan's Hindu Kush mountains without any visible propulsion. These releases come as officials weigh the implications of confirming extraterrestrial presence. Investigative journalist Jeremy Corbell, a longtime UFO researcher, has emerged as a key advisor in these efforts. Corbell describes consultations with White House and Department of Defense officials focused, listen to the wording here, on crafting an effective public message. Quote, officials from the White House and the Department of Defense have, in official capacity, sought my counsel on communication strategy and terminology, specifically in preparation for a potential formal announcement by President Trump regarding UAP reality and non-human intelligence, end quote.
Whoa.
That's pretty significant statement there.
Yeah.
He added that these discussions held via video conference over the past 6 months reflect serious internal planning. Quote, they don't yet know how far the president is willing to take this. They are preparing for a range of outcomes. That preparation is real and it is underway, end quote. The Pentagon has pushed back on aspects of these claims, stating it is unaware of formal strategy meetings with Corbell. Other figures, including News Nation journalist Ross Cohart, report similar outreach from the administration. Officials are reportedly engaging religious leaders worldwide to address potential spiritual fallout, particularly among faith communities that could face profound questions about humanity's place in the universe. Preparations involve churches, mosques, and synagogues helping maintain calm. Vice President J.D. Vance has publicly framed unexplained phenomena through a Christian lens, describing some as potentially demonic.
He totally did that.
Historical cases such as an alleged 1933 craft recovery in Magenta, Italy, linked to the Vatican, add further layers to the unfolding story. Your thoughts, Miss Sandy Ragland?
Okay, so that sounds really intense, right? And really, everybody get ready and so forth. I doubt it will actually be like that, but it's just another stepping stone in this path that we are currently walking down. Now, I believe this Friday, if we are sticking with the every 2 week document, I'm calling it document dump, we should be getting more files released this Friday, which will be June the 5th. So we've had 2 already. And
would you call them significant, or what you've seen, or would you call them
I wouldn't call it a nothing burger.
Me too.
But it's not what people like you and I are, preparing ourselves for, something really significant, which I think we will see something of more significance some point along the way. But I have not taken the time to try to look through even a percentage of this. I'm sure some people have. And maybe it's what needs to happen for a large number of people if they want to take the time to get into this and to start looking at some of these things and begin processing some of it. Because I would say the majority of people are like, I don't care about that. That's nothing. Right. It's not real. So therefore, they've not begun the mental process of, I don't even know how to frame it. I mean, I've had years of being exposed, listening to, looking at different things. So, and because of my faith, it's not going to knock me off my feet. But some people it will. Some people it's going to be harmful to them. And, you hope that they can fall back on their faith.
Yeah.
And it will bring comfort to them.
Well, Hebrews chapter 12 says everything that can be shaken.
Yes.
Listen to the wording. Everything that can be shaken will be shaken until that which cannot be shaken remains.
Remains, correct.
And that is why we are trying to get as many people to see the world from a biblical worldview and to understand that this has not caught God by surprise. And no matter what they say, and no matter what the narrative is, and I've got ideas that I've been talking about for 20 plus years of what I think the narrative is going to be. And you know, a lot of it hasn't been seen yet, but some of it has been seen. Some of the things that I started talking about years ago is coming to pass. And isn't it interesting that even in that article there on the Daily Mail, they're talking about they are consulting religious leaders because they ultimately know that whatever they end up saying, it is going to affect people in their religious outlook of life. And if you have a surface level relationship with Christ, meaning, you know, the Bible talks about having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. If you just say, oh, you know, I believe in God, or a God, or I believe in the universe, or yeah, Jesus is my Savior, but you never really even understand who even Jesus is. That's the ones that are going to be shaken. But if you allow yourself to go deep into the Word of God and allow yourself to be equipped in the Word of God and see what Jesus was really telling us, none of this should be a surprise to the believer.
Right.
We have been told this was coming. And that's what you just said when you said that, you know, it's not a nothing burger, because some of these videos, y'all, that's just, you know, all doing this and they're just gone. I mean, they're if these videos are real, then it's showing things that human beings cannot do, cannot process.
The current state of our technology
cannot do it.
Would not be able to achieve.
So what is it? We don't know what it is, but we're going to funnel it through the eyes in which we see.
You know, and there's so many avenues you could go down here. You know, certainly we need to touch on probably the government will be responsible for some deception, but there are these other organizations that are not government organizations that will probably be responsible for most of the deception of the things that you were talking about, that they are our creators, they're our friends, they're here to help, and all along that line. Then there's a whole other side to this, which is we are coming to the point in time where because of the internet, because of the knowledge base, people are waking up to the fact that we have technologies that could improve our life and make our life better, and we wouldn't be so oppressed, and energy and the so-called lack of energy would not be such a problem. And people are waking up to that. Let's distract them with thoughts of aliens and UFOs so they don't stay on the trail of this anti-gravitic technology and the fact that we probably don't necessarily have a lack of energy. We probably have ways that we wouldn't have to worry about having enough energy. I mean, so much distraction, so much squirrelism. And I hate people suffering financially, but I hate a lot more people being deceived. And being taken down paths that pull them away from God. That's far more worrisome than our financial woes.
The word said, you know, hey, there's some people that can destroy your body.
Yes.
But you need to really be concerned with the ones that can destroy your body and your soul. And what will a man gain if he gains the whole world but loses his own soul?
Come on.
And so this is where we're at. You know, got Elon Musk coming out and saying this week about his Neuralink. He literally says, you can watch it. I'm paraphrasing, but this is what he said. He said, we're going to cause the blinded eyes to see. We're going to cause the lame. And he even said people that have lost their sight and people that have never been able to see, that were born blind, we're going to cause them to see. We're going to cause the lame to walk. And then he said, basically, we're going to do Jesus-like miracles. Did you see that clip?
Oh, yeah.
He said that we're going to, am I quoting it right? He said we're going to do Jesus-like miracles.
And he hasn't said I don't remember him saying the Jesus-like miracles.
Oh, he did. He did. I'll find it.
Before now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't remember him
I
saying
hadn't heard
that
it
before now. But he's been talking about restoring sight.
He has.
And helping people. I don't know what his claim is as far as people that are paraplegic and they've not, had the use of their limbs. But he's been on this track and on this path for a while. So
I can't even believe what I'm reading here, y'all.
Okay, what?
Gabrielle is saying you two are Jack and Rexella Van Impe 2.0.
Gabrielle.
I mean, come on. We love you, but there ain't no way we can even stand in their shadow.
Absolutely not.
But thank you for that kind statement.
That is very kind.
But you do sort of remind me of her because she was always, blonde and sitting there so pretty.
Mm.
Yeah, and so... But I am no Jack Van Impe. Jack Van Impe can quote the whole Bible, y'all. He was unbelievable. But
they're going to cause Delane to walk. Fortunately, he's already walking.
But he did say Jesus like miracles. He really did.
He did.
And it was amazing.
And I'm sure he's very comfortable making statements like that, which is should be alarming to all of us that he and people like him are getting so comfortable.
And isn't that
saying what they've really been thinking for a long time?
And look, this is what they said the real deception would be.
Yes.
Jesus said in Matthew 24, they'll proclaim to be Christ. That's what he says. He says they'll say, look, there's Christ over there in the desert. And he'll say, don't go to the desert. Look, there's Christ on the mountain. Don't go to that mountain. There are many false Christs will be out there. And then the Bible says, even in the book of Revelation, it talks about the Antichrist and the false prophet, that they would do lying signs and wonders. Now watch this. We're not taking away from the fact that it's incredible to think about somebody that was blind to be able to see.
Absolutely.
I thank God for that they would be able to do that. But we're just saying we know where this is going. We know where the end result is that is going to happen. Well, just when you thought, I'm just going to use my internet, I'm just going to surf the internet, who knew that Wi-Fi routers now have been starting to roll out to give the ability to scan your body to identify exactly who you are. Your Wi-Fi router. Your router, not a camera.
This is great. This is great.
Here we go. If you were paranoid about digital tracking before, you might want to think twice about reading any further. New research out of Germany found that the types of Wi-Fi routers we all have in our homes come with a major privacy vulnerability that can be used to identify any human body that comes within their range. The study flagged by Gizmodo used machine learning systems to identify individuals, listen to this, with an accuracy rate of 99.5%. What?
Does this have something to do with frequency?
I'm assuming. To do so, the researchers exploited a vulnerability in a process known as beamforming feedback information, BFI, which was introduced to allow routers to focus Wi-Fi signals on connected devices as opposed to the older approach, which is to blanket an entire area in coverage. While BFI is great for network connectivity, it has a major downside for privacy. For starters, devices connected to a router using beamforming need to send constant feedback in order to be found. As routers send out and receive network feedback, the signal is inevitably impacted by real-world factors like pets, walls, and people. That gap between the signals routers expect to receive and the distorted feedback they actually get allowed researchers to extrapolate the identities of 161 individual participants based on BFI data, which inadvertently mapped their physical characteristics even when individuals changed their gait or carried objects like backpacks or crates. The system registered an accuracy rate of 50 to 60%. This works similar to a normal camera, the difference being that in our case, radio waves instead of light waves are used for the recognition. Making matters worse is the fact that this data is basically wide open for anyone to grab, not only in that feedback data unencrypted, it can also be accessed without ever connecting directly to the router.
What?
We have shown robust identity interference with common off-the-shelf hardware, which is already in widespread adoption in many homes and public areas. With this hardware making its way into millions of homes, the privacy concerns are severe. I'm sure the CIA don't know anything about this.
Right.
Are you listening, CIA? I want you to know that I know that you would never, ever use my Wi-Fi router to identify me. So
Never. Wow.
I mean, this is just one of those things you don't even have anything to say.
No.
You just really can't even speak to that.
It's still not as bad as reading your mind and knowing your thoughts and all that.
True.
That's the worst.
And I've had it happen to me. I'm telling you, I've thought things with no discussion of anyone else, and it pop up in my feed as an ad. And I'm like, wait a minute. There's no memory of any discussion. Or I didn't watch a commercial. I didn't search for this.
You didn't speak to anyone.
Yeah.
You didn't blurt it out loud to yourself. I mean, I know those are super creepy instances.
Yeah. All right. So this is one of my favorite sites here to go to keep up with what's going on here, evolving AI. Each week they do this. AI is moving faster than ever. Here's the biggest news of the last 7 days.
Hey, Clicky, can you please open up Spotify and play AC/DC for me? Maybe Back in Black. I love that song.
Rock on. It's playing Back in Black now.
All right, so I'm not going to play that before I get copyright, but it's something called Clicky, a screen-aware Jarvis-like Mac assistant that can run your computer by voice alone, watching the screen and firing off agents to do real tasks. With OpenAI's new GPT Real-Time 2 reasoning live inside voice, talking to your machine is starting to look like the next interface. So the video goes on. I think the music might be off now, so let's do it.
Connected?
I still play in the background. He's literally not touching anything. He starts off by saying, play me Back in Black on Spotify. And then he goes, hey, that's a little bit too loud. Can you turn it down 50%? Sure, I'll turn it down 50%. Turns the volume down. Then he says, hey, while the music is playing, did we make any money on our so-and-so app? Opens up the browser, checks to see if he's made any money. He goes on and on and on and does it every single task, not by voice texting, but by simply saying, can you do this for me?
It's almost conversational.
And the computer does everything on its own.
So you would describe this as prompts. Okay, he's
vocal
prompts. He's
instruction, not prompts, instruction.
He's not having a conversation necessarily with him.
Yes, he is.
I mean,
it's talking back to him.
Okay. So you would characterize this as conversational.
Absolutely. It's called an AI agent.
Yeah.
They're having a conversation because everything he says, they respond back and they say, yeah, I'm going to do this. Is this what you wanted? This is a conversation.
Well, that was my question is, would you categorize this as conversational?
That's why he says it's a Jarvis-like. I mean, it's just like in the movies, y'all.
Yeah.
Jarvis-like, yeah. All right, now this right here is interesting. A feed, these tools, this is a new AI tool here. I mean, this right here is just sad because this is just jobs disappearing right in front of you.
Yes,
so you just get a plot and you just, with this app, you just draw out whatever your plot is and it automatically designs the parking lot. It knows the code. It shows you how many cars can be parked there. You put buildings in there. It just restructures everything, creates the blueprint instantly. Jobs. Oh, it's sad. Jobs are got a road going through it. Look, just going back and forth.
Right.
I mean, it instantly does it.
It's terrible.
We're in trouble. We're in trouble.
I watch the videos where people are crashing out. They're crashing out every day. Or losing their job, or they've just graduated with degrees and can't get a job. It is terrible.
So let's go through. Oh, this one right here is terrifying. Booster Robotics is showing a humanoid that can dribble, pass, pick themselves up after a fall, run entirely by AI with no human at the controls. Soccer is the real test. If a robot can stay balanced and react in a fast game. It can handle messier jobs. And the kick is so strong, it when it starts, watch this, it knocks a hole in the sheetrock. Crack the ball. Look this. Crack the sheetrock. I would not want to play soccer against him.
No.
That's a military robot. That is not a soccer robot.
That's a robot that's been weaponized.
That is a weaponized robot. Yeah. Look at this. Look at how you can't believe anything. This is Gemini Omni that just came out with, people's been using Gemini forever. So you literally can take a water bottle and turn a water bottle into anything. He's holding up a piece of paper, and it can look like he has a rare Pokemon card for sale with even the text of how much it costs and everything on it instantaneously. Y'all, we're cooked. The Pope just dropped a massive 150-page manifesto on AI, and he's not holding back. Pope Leo just released his first official encyclical called Magnifica Humanitas. And the entire thing is dedicated to AI. He's basically calling for the total disarmament of artificial intelligence and saying we need to rip it away from big tech monopolies before it completely dominates society.
Good luck with that.
I was about to say, Pope.
You're a little late on that one, sir.
Leo, my friend, do you think that you writing that down? I know you're the Pope. Dude, you cannot put this toothpaste back in.
No, it's not going back in the tube, sir. Wow.
Yeah. All right, let me see what we got next here. Yeah. I just got all kinds of things making you happy tonight. Security experts warned that AI could now steal your fingerprints from high-resolution selfies. I mean, I don't even want to report on this stuff, but I have to tell you what they're saying. Security researchers are warning that high-resolution photos showing fingers facing the camera can contain enough detail for AI tools to reconstruct usable fingerprints.
Wow.
The risk is highest in selfies taken from within about 1.5 meters, where modern phone cameras capture skin ridges with enough clarity that AI enhances software can sharpen them to biometric templates. The concern spread widely after Chinese cybersecurity expert Li Cheng demonstrated the technique on a reality show, isolating fingerprint data from a celebrity's peace sign selfie. The idea is not new. Researcher Jan Chrysler bypassed Apple's Touch ID in 2013 using public photos of hands. What's changed is the camera and the software. Once reconstructed, the data could, in theory, be used to spoof scanners tied to phones, laptops, and payment systems. And this is the chilling line here. Fingerprints are not like passwords that you can change on a weekly or daily basis. Once they are exposed, they cannot be reset.
Ooh.
No one thought about this.
Yeah.
And these are the cameras that we have on our phones. These are not the cameras that are actually available to hackers and to high-level officials. This is getting insane, y'all.
It is getting insane.
You better know Jesus.
Whew.
Well, someone asked Claude for an unconventional daily habit to become relentless, meaning just in beast mode to be successful. Get ready for the response. Actually, it's pretty intense and it's a little morbid, but it's a little good. What can I do to make sure that every day I get up, I dominate? If you were a human, that would be your unconventional daily habit to be as relentless as possible to ensure you achieve your goals. Listen to what Claude said. If I were human, my unconventional daily habit would be to write my own obituary every single morning. Not the polished version, but the honest one based on how I actually lived the previous 24 hours. Most people only confront mortality abstractly or during crisis, but forcing myself to draft a few brutally truthful sentences each day. Example, here lies someone who scrolled for 2 hours and called it research, would create a relentless feedback loop that no productivity app or motivational quote could match. The discomfort of repeatedly, and he goes on to, I guess, say a little bit more than that, but that's not on the screen. But you know what? It's not bad advice. Because if you had to be honest and say, here lies so-and-so who spent 3 hours binge watching a Netflix show instead of spending time with their family,
True.
That would slap you in the face.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
So what is happening is, what this is proving is that AI is becoming counselor, lawyer, psychiatrist, teacher, nurturer, friend.
Yeah.
So you remember earlier when I said I'm going to ask a question about the data centers?
Yes.
Okay. I've been pondering this.
Okay.
I've been asking this question. What are they really building for? I mean, it's a simple question, but this is where I would say the super majority of human beings when it comes to AI is thinking. They're thinking that they're building these massive data centers in every state, in every country around the world at record speed that's consuming resources like nothing has ever consumed resources. For your cat videos and for your AI-generated videos and your intros, this is the Noah generation. You with me? Let's go. The little videos that I've made. Here's the deeper, and I hate to say darker question. What are they really planning on putting in those facilities? What requires that much to where when you start thinking about?
Are you going to answer your own question?
I am.
Okay.
I'm going to give my opinion. Everyone that's watching right now, I want you in the live chat or in the comment section, I want you to tell me if you know of a data center near you or one that is being built. Somebody says, I worked in many data centers. They're not for servers. That's all I can say. Okay. So this is what triggered this thought for me, because you see these, they're talking about data centers bigger than the island of Manhattan. Just one that Meta is building, not to mention the one that's, the Stargate and all these, the largest in the world. But then, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. This is what Elon Musk said this week. I think it was this week. It was in the last couple of weeks. He said the absolute 100% where it's going to go. I think he said, how many years? Do you remember when I played this for you? Remember how many years he said? By 20.
Was it 2027?
2030 or 20. And I think he said by 2030 at the latest. And we may be off a couple of years. He said, I predict that all data centers, new data centers, will be in space. Mm-hmm. He said they will not be here because there will not be enough electricity. He said the amount of power that we will need will be for this one data center, this one thing that we're trying to do, is greater than, how do you put it? What was it? 1 terabyte, not terabyte, teragig or something like that. I can't remember how he said the whole United States of America uses half of that. We're going to need twice of that all the time. And he said the only way to do it is to go to space. He says because you're going to harness the power of the sun, and you don't have to. It's going to be cheaper
because you don't have water for cooling.
You don't have to have water for cooling, and you don't even have to have batteries. He said you don't have to store it. It's going to be a constant beam. So he says it's going to be in space. So you have to start asking your question, because I'm thinking about all these data centers around the world. Then I'm talking about him saying he's going to surround the entire earth with the biggest data center, going to turn our orbit basically into a data center. Is that really part of what Starlink is doing as well? I started thinking about that. And then I saw this. I was already thinking it. And this one I said I want to ask the question when I saw this. A new startup building wave-powered AI data centers offshore. And I saw this, I was like, oh, what are you talking about? Okay, this company is a startup of offshore AI data centers powered and cooled by the ocean. With $140 million raised, it wants to move heavy computing far from land into open water and at scale. Each floating data center, look at the comparison, is about 85 meters tall with most of its body underwater for stability. Inside, sealed AI servers sit in a protective container while surrounding seawater handles natural cooling. The ocean does more than keep the servers cool. As waves hit and lower the structure, water moves through internal turbines, turning constant ocean motion into electricity for the AI chips inside the vessel. Panthalassa's design is built for harsh ocean conditions with no engines, hinges, or gearboxes. And the vessels reduce failure points and can even move using wave motion and their hull shape along the sea. Once deployed, listen how all this ties together, the floating data centers connect through Starlink satellites, keeping offshore AI servers online while combining two big advantages: seawater cooling and wave-generated power for heavy computing. As AI demands more energy, companies must rethink where computing infrastructure belongs. Panthalassa suggests the open ocean could power the future of AI. So you have in the same month openly discussing taking all data centers to space and taking data centers to the ocean, right, in addition to all the data centers that is being built on land. So what in the world do they really have planned for AI that it needs that many data centers and that much electricity?
Well, we're all waiting for your answer.
I think it's absolutely the beast system. That's the easy answer. It's the beast system of the Bible. Gotta be careful here.
Please tell
But I believe that, go watch The Matrix. That's all I want to say.
Okay.
Go watch The Matrix. Your thoughts?
Like you said, easy answer is the beast system. We're going to need all of this storage and computing power. If some entity is always going to know where you are, what you're doing, they're going to be all-knowing, all-powerful, everywhere at the same time. This mimicry of what God is, he actually is those things. We know the devil can't be those things, but he wants to get as close as he can to those abilities. So he's got to rely on technology.
Which is what the Watchers brought across as well.
Exactly.
Just saying.
This is costly, and it requires a lot of energy, right? To power it.
Right.
It requires a lot of infrastructure, which you see the constant continual building going on. And like you said, it is consuming resources on the land. Now we're moving it into the sea, and we're going to put it in space if we haven't already.
Exactly.
Because if they're talking about it now, it's probably going on to some extent right now at this moment. So I've heard people pose another theory, at least as far as the land-built structures, that maybe they're not just supposedly servers inside these buildings. Maybe these buildings are being built to house something other than machines. I don't think we want to go beyond that at this point.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So, yeah, there's a lot there.
And then there's this. If you oppose it, well, let's listen to Clayton.
Well, here we go again. If you speak out against something the government is doing, you could be labeled a domestic terrorist. The federal government has apparently found a brand new category of domestic threats, not cartel violence, not Wall Street fraud, not the people poisoning our food or bankrupting our country, spying on Americans, dragging us into endless wars. No, those people are fine. No, the new threat is you. If you don't want a massive AI data center built in your backyard or you speak out against it, you are the problem. According to a brand new report out of Wired magazine in their investigation, more than 1,000 pages of unpublished reports from DHS, the FBI, and regional fusion centers show that the U.S. law enforcement agencies are now circulating warnings about something they're calling anti-tech violent extremism. That's the phrase, anti-tech violent extremism. And Wired says this term does not appear to in any publicly available DHS or FBI document guides on extremism. It's not there, which means this is new. This is a newly emerging category being built inside their surveillance state in the Trump administration. So if you don't want a giant data center in your backyard because of what it's going to do to the ecology, what it's going to do to the noise pollution, what it's going to do to the energy infrastructure, then you could be labeled a domestic terrorist. Our next guest has...
My goodness.
Wow. So this is accelerating.
Yeah.
So quickly.
So quickly.
Not just AI is accelerating, but the system to protect whatever their goal is that they're trying to get to.
Right.
To where if you come out against it, you're being labeled the enemy.
The enemy. A terrorist.
This is
an actual terrorist. If you are against it, maybe if you even just want to ask a question, what is this?
Yeah.
I mean, what would you call this? Police state on steroids.
On steroids, yeah. That is why you need a biblical worldview. Yes. I want to encourage you to get a copy of my book, not because it's the greatest book in the world. It's not the greatest book in the world.
But it is helpful. It will help you.
It is helpful. It is helpful for you to understand. I got an entire chapter that deals with AI and what the part of the final flood that's going to be AI. I tell you why I believe that AI is the return of the Tower of Babel and how it is not a structure in one place. It is global. It is cosmic. But where it all began is in a place called Mount Hermon, where the Watchers came across with their technology, according to the book of Enoch. And it is a very real place. Mount Hermon is the highest place in all of Israel, highest peak in all of the Middle East, certainly in Israel. The highest manned United Nations outpost in the world just happens to be on top of Mount Hermon. I submit to you in the book that is where the Mount of Transfiguration is. I show you why it's important for you to understand the base of that mountain is called the gates of hell. These are real places, and you can go with me and Sandy to see them in person. Did you like that? Was that amazing?
That was smooth.
What a great segue there. Israel26.com. It is linked down below, a direct link to it. I'm telling you more and more. I found out today another one of our big picture family is going. They're taking their 12-year-old child with them too as well. I found out today they couldn't go. They can go. Exciting. So we got families that are going with us. The Big Picture Israel Tour with Pastor Larry and Sandy Ragland and Pastor Paul and Heidi Begley, if you know them. Most of you know them. Go to Israel26.com and go to Israel with us. Real quick, Sandy, in the last few seconds that we have, talk about what Israel meant to you when you went.
Ooh, wow. It really brought the scriptures to life. Our particular tour started out on the Mount of Olives, which was amazing.
Yes, it was.
And so many other highlights on this trip right here to go to the wall.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
That's where it started right there.
To stand on the shore of the Sea of Galilee, to take the boat ride, to be baptized in the Jordan River, to go to the gates of hell. Oh, my goodness. So many things. You just, Capernaum.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it's amazing.
wow.
It's amazing.
Just tremendous.
Yes.
The upper room. I mean, I can go on and on and on. You don't want to miss this. This is just a tremendous opportunity.
Look at that. That's the gates of hell,
That
y'all.
is
That's where Jesus stood right there
Yes.
and said, "Who do men say that I am?" That's just incredible. Oh, man, you need to go with us to Israel.
Absolutely.
Another great show tonight, Sandy. You know, our grandbabies are coming, so we got to get off of here. So we're excited about that.
Yes,
we love you, Big Picture family.
Yes,
we love
we
you
do.
so much. You mean the world to us more than we could ever say. Parting thoughts.
It's great to be back. I miss not being live with you guys. And I know you had a great holiday. We did too, but it's great to be back.
It is.
And as all the things in our world get more intense, and it's hard to believe, it feels like it ramps up almost on a weekly basis. It's good to know that we can walk through this together with you guys, and I'm thankful for that.
Amen. See you next time with the Big Picture. We always want to remind you, no matter what's going on in the world, we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake. See you next time.
Help us build the Big Picture family. We're on a mission to wake up the world to what is really going on. Go to LarryRagland.com to give a one-time gift or become a monthly partner. Any amount blesses the entire Big Picture family. While you're there, pick up our book, I See Greatness in You. Browse our merchandise store, connect on social media, and get on the Big Picture mailing list at LarryRagland.com. Join us and be a part of the Big Picture family, where we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake. You're watching The Big Picture.